Anderson Motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Front. He sits on the pole with a new track record, 30.615 seconds, 0.3 of a second better than the field. And outside of him, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in his third top 10 start here in his mini races.
David Green, second in the points, very fast. See Scott Riggs, he's been on a roll lately.
David Stremme, one of the highest rookies qualifying here tonight.
A.C. Kane did a good job qualifying. He wrecked in practice, had a backup car in qualifying.
Mike Bliss qualified to start 12th, actually 11th, but with an engine change, he'll go and start at the back of the field. Tom Bodine also doing same thing, scheduled to start on the outside of row 7, but with an engine change, he'll move back.
Jason Keller was very fast in happy hour, had a good car, good in long runs.
Your partner, Randy LaJoie, starts on the outside of row number 9. Paul Menard having some success here in the Busch Series.
Well, this is his first race here. His first race in the Busch Series was last week. Did a good job.
Mike Harmon also having problems, had to go to a backup car, and so he'll go to the back of the field for the start.
Brian Vickers was third in happy hour, so he'll be coming up through the field. You see Martin Truex Jr. there, my teammate in the Chance 2 car, looking for him today.
Mike Wallace will start 34th tomorrow at Michigan. He starts here in 25th position. Terry Earnhardt, his third start at Kentucky, best finish was 7th last year. Tim Sauter, Lance Norrick, and rounding out the field, Regan Smith, one of the fastest practicers here. He ran. He was the fastest practice prior to qualifying.
He got an accident in practice, you know, the fastest in practice there, and then had to pull out a backup for the qualifying. Stacy Compton got a good jump there. Bobby Jr. was able to pull down behind him and didn't want to go on the outside that first corner, but Hornaday, he will if he gets a chance.
Hornaday will be aggressive here. You see someone being aggressive right there. Bobby Hamilton Jr. making the pass on Stacy Compton as they go down the backstretch into 3 and 4 for the first lap.
Looks like they were thinking about going 3 wide on the first lap there. Wait a minute now. It's first lap. Let's get this one under our belt.
As they come out of turn number 4, this is a D-shaped crash. So really the front stretch, there's not any one area where they're going to be going straight, but as they work their way through 1 and 2, Bobby Hamilton Jr. puts some distance between himself and the field.
We'll have to see if his car changes with the weather, but they've been running good the last 2 weeks, and I think he'll be just fine. So the track's shaped like a D, the garages are shaped like a W. Old DW.
He was a consultant putting this track together. The first race was run here back in 2001, so this is actually the third race run by the NASCAR Busch Series here at Kentucky. And Bobby Hamilton, your early leader in this one. Here's a great battle for third. Scott Riggs on the outside, your points leader, and Ron Hornaday Jr. in the number 2 on the inside.
Shane Mill just blasted by David Green on the apron coming down the front stretch here. He's moving along pretty good. Catching those two guys.
Scott Riggs on the outside there trying to complete the pass on Ron Hornaday Jr. The first 3 spread out a little bit there. Scott Riggs currently in third position.
I think as you see the race go on, you're going to see the groove move to the outside a little bit just to keep the cars freed up. This track has a lot of grip, and you'll see it more in 3 and 4 just because the track is so sweeping, and to stop the car from being so bound and being tight, bogging the engine down, you'll see guys move up off the bottom a little bit, and you'll see some outside passes.
Here we take a look at 7th, 8th, and 9th. Scott Wimmer, we're currently riding with him in the Stacker number 23. David Green in the Timberwolf number 37 there in the front of your screen. David Rudiman in the 87 running very well.
He ran the Southeast Series, the Kodak Southeast Series race last night, so he got a little experience. He's doing a good job in Joe Nemechek's Busch cars. He's ran pretty well in every race he's been in.
David Stremme was in the middle of that picture. You see him with the yellow stripe on the back of his yellow number 1 there, just off to our left of the screen there. And Casey Keene right in front of him in the Great Clips number 38.
Talked about him earlier. He was involved in an accident in the first practice before qualifying. Still did a good job in qualifying and had a decent start there. So they came up here and tested a few weeks ago, and they've got a fast race car.
Now, the start of this race, it looked as though that speed that out in front that Stacy Compton had put on in qualifying, it looked like he was going to pull away, and then Bobby Hamilton has done just that. He's separated himself from Stacy Compton by a good 8 to 10 car lengths already.
Well, Stacy's hanging in there second place. We've got some changes that are going to be taking place with the temperature. The sun's going to go down, and I don't know, maybe he has a setup that he needs to wait on a little bit. We're going to have to wait and see.
A lot of these guys will do different tire pressures to start off, thinking that do I go long runs, short runs, types of things. And out in front again, we've got Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Stacy Compton, and more with that, we've got Mark Garrow.
Well, before Harold Hawley came over to Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s team to be the crew chief, he worked for Bill Amick. They decided they'd run some Busch races with Jeff Green. They built 2 cars. They brought them to Charlotte as Chevrolets. When Harold Hawley came over to the Team Marines, he then asked Bill Amick about buying those cars. They bought them and then reskinned them with Fords, and one of those is out front right now.
Mike Bliss, we had talked about the engine change for him. He was back in last. He's already moved up to 28th position. So he's making quite a move early on in the number 20.
And on the move.
More with that, Mark Garrow.
Well, back in 2001, Kevin Harvick was running both the Winston Cup and Busch Series full-time at the same time, and so he missed the qualifying and practice for this race, had to start in the back. The guy who qualified that car for Kevin Harvick, the guy who dialed it in happy hour, was none other than Mike Bliss. What did Kevin Harvick do? He drove it from the back all the way to the front and took the checkered flag.
And another guy that's moving from the back to the front currently is the number 92 of Todd Bodine.
Same old story there. I mean, he's had to do that quite a bit this year, and they've had some really fast race cars. He might be getting used to this, you know what?
Well, I talked to his crew prior to it, and they weren't very happy about him having to go to the back because they're getting tired of having to pass all these cars. Glenn, what's going on?
Well, guys, I've been watching Todd the last few laps working track, and he's just now able to get a fender under Ron Young, the car number 71. Todd and Mike Bliss both started in the rear, but Mike Bliss, the mother on by that, and pulled about 20-25 car lengths away from Todd. Todd's car right now not going through the corners exactly what he wants. He's having just a little bit of trouble with the car. I'm sure they'll get it sorted out a little later on, but it's not acting the way he wants it right now.
Well, Todd Bodine here last year was pretty slow at the start of the race, and then he came on like gangbusters after about 20 laps. So we'll have to see if his car comes to him. He'll run his car very free at the start of a race just so it's good at the end of a run.
here at Kentucky Speedway. We're riding along with Mike Wallace in the number 4, and that red dot up in front of you is our leader right now. He just put Mike Wallace down a lap, and look who's in front of him, Todd Bodine, who's currently the last car on the lead lap. Hank, can you be driving too hard too early at this track?
Well, if you're by yourself, it's not that big of a deal, but when you're around other cars, Todd Bodine is a hard-nosed racer. He's a hard driver, and he's a good driver, and he does not want to go a lap down. And Bobby Jr. needs to be careful around that situation. I mean, they could get together and be racing just so hard. Bobby Jr. wanting to keep his rhythm, and then Todd Bodine, you know, trying to stay on the lead lap. So you don't want to get yourself in trouble by putting yourself in positions you don't need to be in. So he's steadily pulling away from second place. There's no need to push the issue.
And with more on Todd Bodine, let's go down to Mark Garrow.
Well, Hank, you've heard about a lot of cars being tight tonight. Todd Bodine has the opposite problem. He's a little loose in the middle of the corner and a little bit loose off. He's complaining about that to his crew chief, Tony Liberati. Liberati said, look, don't worry about it. The track will tighten up. It'll come to us. Well, it better in a hurry or he's going to be a lap down.
And currently, Todd Bodine is in 18th position, meaning he is the last car, or he is the last car on the lead lap. So there's only 18 cars currently on the lead lap. That's how dominant Bobby Hamilton Jr. has been so far.
We're working lap 58 right now. Bobby Jr. is just rolling up through the field. I mean, he's catching some good cars. He's catching a 21 car. He's put the 4 car a lap down. And I mean, those guys are good cars. And he's really running good. And this is the point where you say, you just don't need to push it too hard. You've got a stack of cars in front of them that you can't put a lap down. And don't want to put yourself in a bad position.
Right now we're on board with Johnny Sauter in the Payday 21, and we're looking back at 92 of Todd Bodine and the number 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. who's back there. But Johnny Sauter and Todd Bodine are racing for position. I mean, Todd Bodine right now is trying to get 17th away from Johnny Sauter. And look at the difference here, the interval that he's put on second place. He is almost 7 seconds ahead of second place Stacy Compton right now.
That tells the story right there. You talk about the 21 and the 92 fight for position. They are fighting tooth and nail to stay on the lead lap.
And Johnny Sauter about to go a lap down to Bobby Hamilton Jr. With more on Johnny, Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, Johnny Sauter has the exact opposite problem that Todd Bodine has. His car is pushing. In fact, crew chief Busch said is plowing. He just cannot get the car to the turn. So they're very anxious to get the car in here. In fact, the green flag pit stop should start coming within the next, couple of laps. We hear that Jason Keller will be in, but the 21 car real tight right now. We'll keep an eye on these guys. They should start coming in anytime.
As hard as Bobby Hamilton Jr. has been running, do you see him coming in as one of the first guys under green flag racing?
Well, the field is spread out a little bit, so I could see him coming in early, but I don't know about the first one. See, Randy LaJoie's out of gas right there. You know, that's pretty early to be out of gas, I would think. But back on Bobby Jr., I don't know. You would hate to be in the pits and then a caution come out and then catch you a lap down. He's got such a fast car, he can give up a little bit. I mean, Randy LaJoie may not make it back around.
Randy LaJoie currently on the back stretch right now, and again, being out of gas, he could be in big problems. And let's head down to pits and Glenn Jarrett.
Well, the 38 car of Casey Kane has come in for a 4-tire change in fuel. They did make an adjustment on the car. Casey was complaining that his car was very tight as well. He has already gotten his service done and is out of here. We're expecting Jason Keller next. They told us somewhere around lap 63, 64, so we'll head that way.
Randy LaJoie is going to make it back to pit road. Casey Atwood in for a scheduled pit stop.
Randy LaJoie is not going to have to worry about speeding on pit road. He won't make it to the 45 miles an hour that they have to stay under.
He's crawling along very slowly.
And we mentioned at the beginning of this, we see Casey Atwood in his stop in the number 14 Navy car. We had talked about the pit window being approximately 60 to 65 laps, and currently we're on lap 65. So we should see quite a few cars come in here now for their scheduled pits.
We talked at the beginning of this race, there's 20 guys that have not raced here. And someone could spin out coming on the pit road. Glenn's with somebody down on pit road.
That's Jason Keller.
And Jason Keller comes in. They told us lap 63. It's actually lap 65. This will be 4 tires, and they made a track bar adjustment. They go down 1/2 round on the track bar. Remember earlier on, Jason said his car was just a little bit loose. Later on in that run, he started turning lap times quicker than anybody out there, even the leader, Bobby Hamilton. So with the adjustments in the tire, he is down and away. Mark?
Also coming into the pits was our second place car, the 59 of Stacy Compton. And it looks as though he's doing a routine 4-tire stop and the 22 gallons they can put into the fuel cell. Looks like a very clean stop for Stacy Compton as he stays just in front of Dave Rubin, and smoke going by as you see that.
That's the thing you don't want to have. Bobby Hamilton Jr. has just made his way on the pit road. You do not want to have a caution right now.
Tim Sauter in the number 56. We saw the smoke out of him. Was just behind the 59 Stacy Compton. And now your leader coming onto pit road in the number 25. That's Bobby Hamilton Jr. Mark Garrow calling.
He swings around Todd Bodine's car and into his pit. The Team Marine crew goes to work on the right side. As you would suspect, they're not going to make many changes right now. A 1/2 pound to the right rear. The car's basically good. They're chasing the track just a little bit. Otherwise, crew chief Harold Hawley very happy. The crew a little bit of trouble over here on left-hand side. That car now is down and away.
Just over 19 seconds on that stop. Pretty good stop for Bobby Hamilton Jr. and that team. Actually, their tire carrier, who's normally with them, Troy Phillip, broke a collarbone and I believe he broke his hand. And so he wasn't able to be here today. Another guy coming in, the number 2 of Ron Hornaday Jr.
Ron Hornaday brings in the AC Delco Chevrolet. They're not going to make any adjustments to this race car right now. Crew chief Ricky Barr says they're pretty happy with it, but that the track should come to them just a little bit. Looks like a good stop for this crew. They're already around on the left-hand side, and he's down and away.
Heard a little metal dropping there at the end of that one. Ron Hornaday Jr. not wasting any time getting out of this.
15-second pit stop. So Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s guys gave up a little bit of time to that 2 car.
But Bobby Hamilton Jr. had put 7 seconds on the second place car. So, I mean, he had built up enough room, a cushion there. Oh, and we've got a problem. Johnny Sauter out of gas. The number 21 of Johnny Sauter running out of gas as he tries to make his way back into the pits.
He's going to have a long way to go. Rolling pretty slow off of turn 2.
He's on the back stretch, just like Randy LaJoie had the same problem. The difference here is he's staying on the track right now.
Well, when you see him swerve the car like that, he's jerking the car left and right, trying to get fuel to the pickup. Maybe hitting on the starter, just trying to get that thing to fire up, get some more momentum in the pits.
Now the pickups on these are actually on, is it the right side of the cell?
It would be on the right-hand side, just because of the force when you're going around the turns. The fuel is going to go to the right-hand side.
So they move back and forth, and Johnny Sauter making his way down pit road now, and so he will be able to get in and make the required adjustments to the payday number 21. And to the call at pit, we've got Glenn Jarrett.
Boy, the last thing that you ever want to happen is to be leading the race, which Johnny Sauter was doing, and run the thing out of fuel. He and Busch, his crew chief, were in animated conversation about when to pit when Johnny comes down on the radio and says that it's that it had run out of fuel. They will change 4 tires. As I said, the car was tight, so they're going to go up around on the track car. They're around to the left side now to change the left side tires, but the car still has not refired, even though they have been fueling. They're on the second can right now. There it goes. It finally refired. So Johnny is down and away now. Boy, he lost a lot of valuable time. And by the way, just to update you on what Stacy Compton did in the 59 when he pitted, his crew chief Steve Plattenberger said all they did was change 4 tires, that fuel, no adjustments, no changes whatsoever on that car, guys.
We talked a little bit about driving hard. He now needs to drive that car like a boss man's Cadillac. He's taking it to lunch. Do not put a scratch on that car. Do not get yourself in trouble, because that is one fast hot rod. And it doesn't matter, even if he had to lose a position, I believe he can get it back just as quick as he can.
Bobby Hamilton, again, running away from the field right now. And with more on that, we go down to his crew chief, Harold Holly, and Mark Garrow.
Well, Harold is sitting high atop the war wagon. You seem awful calm right now. You got a 5-second lead. Just how good a race car do you have, and are you going to put a spanking on him the rest of the night?
Well, we're just trying to take our time getting through lap cars right now. Sometimes you can't tell which way we're going to go, but Bubba's doing all the job, good job staying calm in the car, and tires on that first stop look pretty awesome, and he said it started to tighten up about lap 50 into the green flag run, so we made a small adjustment for a little bit longer run. Hopefully we'll just try to stay out of trouble and see what happens at the end.
Now let's go to Glenn and Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mark. I've climbed up on top here with Butch Hilton, the crew chief for Johnny Sauter. Butch, obviously, there was either a miscalculation or you tried to stretch it too far. What happened?
Yeah, we missed it a little bit here on the start. We were real tight. Wasn't expecting that. I thought we'd be loose. Tried to stretch it out and catch a caution there. That's my fault. Be boneheaded. We'll keep working hard, trying to get a good finish out of it.
All right, we appreciate the honesty, man. And Hank, I guess you can elaborate that on a little bit. When the car is tight, the driver uses more fuel because he can stay in it more as opposed to when it's loose, right?
That's exactly right. And then the car's just bound up and you're trying to use the throttle to make the car turn. It is not a good situation. So you burn a little bit more fuel off when your car's tight. You've got more steering input in the car. It causes you to burn a little more fuel.
David Rudeman trying to make the pass now for third on Stacy Compton, and you see the yellow stripe on the back of that Cellular One, number 87. He gets by Stacy Compton and takes over third position.
He went in the corner very low right there to get around that lap car. Thought he might slide up a little bit. Did a good job. That didn't look like a rookie pass, did it?
Not at all. And we're seeing more side-by-side racing now as the groove begins to widen on this track. More passing taking place, and Dave Rudem now sets his sights on the number 2 of Ron Hornaday Jr. Ron Hornaday Jr. Had come in prior to the pits. He was sitting in third position, and now he currently sits in second. And so Dave Rudeman trying to reel in a very quick Ron Hornaday Jr.
Well, we saw a very fast pit stop by his guys. Got him out in second place.
Third and fourth, Dave Rudeman and Stacy Compton. Stacy Compton is our track record holder and trying to actually hold on to the guys that are going by him right now. Dave Rudeman will try to pull him back up to the front, but Bobby Hamilton running just extremely well here. He's put about 5.5 seconds on Ron Hornaday Jr. already. Welcome back to NASCAR Busch Series Racing on FS. You see your leader, the number 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. coming down pit road. That is because we are under our first caution of the race. Randy LaJoie having some troubles getting through turn 1. Looks as though he blew a motor. And so caution number 1 comes out here in Kentucky. And it looks as though, did Ron Hornaday Jr. do a gas and go there?
Well,
5.8 seconds. Glenn?
Yeah, in fact, after I got through calling Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s pit stop, I turned around to tell you about Ron Hornaday's, and he was gone. So that's all they did. It was fuel only for Hornaday. So 4 tires of fuel for Hamilton, fuel only for the number 2 of Ron Hornaday.
And NASCAR told the 25 to come in. We'll get back to that, but the 87 of Dave Rudeman having some troubles. Mark Garrow, what's going on?
What an unbelievably bad break for a car that was running so strong early on here at Kentucky. As they dropped the jack and he took off, he spun the tires, apparently may have over-revved the engine. They dropped a cylinder, and they've now rolled that car into the garage area.
Bad luck for Dave Rudeman. I mentioned the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. was called in by NASCAR, and we take a look at his pit stop that he came back in on, or this was his first pit stop.
Yeah, he's telling right there that they've missed the lug nut. They're going to have to come back in.
Bring it back in. Glenn?
Well, you're exactly right, guys. That's what happened. A couple of lug nuts left loose on the left front. Of course, the team contested that, but the NASCAR official was adamant that he was right, brought him back in, and he was. Then team owner Rd.16 came over, took the official's hand and said thank you, because that could have caused some serious problems later on. We're back to green.
That's exactly right. If that team didn't realize that they had lug nuts loose on there, Bobby Hamilton's car has been the strongest one on the track, and if he had problems with a vibration or something, he had to come in during green flag stops, he could have dropped back here earlier. Here he has to go back to the back of the line, which is currently just 13.
patience. This is he needs to show patience right here. He's got the fastest race car. I'm sure he will. He can just work his way right back up there, take his time, get around these cars. And, I mean, Ron Hornaday's out leading this race. It's a fuel only. And the tires haven't really been falling off. So some of these cars, these guys have gone faster late in runs than they have at the beginning of the runs. And one thing I was wanting to talk about before we went to break was these guys came in and took tires under green. Well, that doesn't count against their 3-set allotment. So I looked for everybody to take tires, but I wasn't really expecting Hornaday just to take fuel. So he did that, and we'll just have to see how that pays out for him. If they go long green, he may be in trouble, but these guys have been hanging on as far as time for a long time.
And in retrospect, Ron Hornaday Jr. trying for track position on Bobby Hamilton Jr. by getting out in front of him with gas and go, but then with Bobby Hamilton's problems, he probably could have put tires on and still been in the same position.
Probably so, but Bobby Jr. is not waiting. He's passing cars left and right.
He's already up to 10th position. Right in front of him is the number 20, Mike Bliss. And so Bobby Hamilton Jr. again tries to move back up to the front. Mike Bliss trying to hold on. And with more on Bobby Hamilton Jr., what's Jared?
Well, guys, I just talked to Harold Holley, the crew chief, and of course, he didn't like what happened, but he told me, he said, hey, Glenn, he said, these guys haven't really been used to running up front like this, being in the heat of battle, and the guy was just trying to get him out quick. They knew that Hornaday was going to do gas and go only, and they were just trying to hurry things up as much as they could. Just an honest mistake. Harold said that he told Bobby just to take it easy, use your head. You still got the race car to beat him. Here's Mark Garrett.
David Ruben in the garage area. David, what a heartbreak for you running top 5, top 10 throughout the early part of this race. What happened?
I don't really know. The motor just quit. I don't know if it's ignition related or what it is. I mean, just the car was great. Ryan Patty and the whole Cell 1 team, just a phenomenal car. We were getting better every time we'd pit, and just wasn't our day. I got to thank Joe Nemechek for the opportunity, Cell 1 for taking a gamble on a guy that they never really heard of. And hey, I was all in the mail and just couldn't close the deal, but we'll be back.
Back to Rick Allen, Hank Parker Jr.
Thank you, Mark. And we see Bobby Hamilton Jr. working his way through the field. As I had mentioned, he started in 13th on the restart and has worked his way up to 9th already. David Stremme in the number 1 just out in front of him now. And David Stremme's been running very well, too, here as a rookie.
Yes, he has. And, Glenn said that Harold told Bobby Jr. just to be patient. He's got to be the coach and the cheerleader here, so he'll be trying to keep the reins pulled tight on him. David Stremme, a young guy, I think they've had to pull the reins back on him a little bit, but he's doing a good job. You'd rather have to pull the reins back on somebody than you would have to light a fire underneath them.
And there's definitely a fire underneath the number 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Now, will he try to push it a little bit to get up there, or will he realize that he's got enough racing to go on here? Does something like that get you fired up a little bit when you have to go back into the pits?
I'm sure he's very fired up, and I'm sure he's wanting to go, but he's got a fast car, and as long as they have good communication and his guys are telling him just to be calm, be patient, it'll all just work right back out.
See the number 10 and 59, Scott Riggs, and the number 10, 59 of Stacy Compton racing for second position. Scott Riggs holding on to the number 2 position right now. And Scott Riggs used to run it up front. He was our most recent winner in Nashville and now sits second behind Ron Hornaday Jr.
I think maybe Bobby Jr. and those guys came back down pit road just so it'd be easier for us to talk about the race. What do you think?
That was awful nice of him, if that was the reason. We're on board with Johnny Sutter, looking back at the number 10 of Scott Riggs. The number 2 of Ron Hornaday Jr. still sits in front of this pack as the lights, or the sun sets and the lights get brighter. Ron Hornaday Jr. out in front. Scott Riggs, currently your points leader, out in second position behind Ron Hornaday Jr. But coming up strong is the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr.
The 10 car is starting to catch the 2 cars. Scott Riggs is starting to catch Hornaday there. This is going to get interesting here.
Currently the fastest car on the track is Scott Riggs, the number 10. And Bobby Hamilton Jr., we talked about it, he restarted actually 12th after the last caution. He starts 12th. He's already moved his way up to 5th position now. And so he sets his sights on the 23 of Scott Wimmer, who's just out in front of him. And he hasn't had a lot of problem passing guys. Okay?
I was about to say, he has made some moves that make me cringe a little bit up here. Wait a minute now, he's got a fast car, but he's doing a great job. He's catching Scott Wimmer, and the 10 cars gaining on the 2 cars. So this is good. This is going to get fun if these 3 guys get up here and start racing for the lead.
Scott Riggs is our points leader currently, and with more on that, Mark Garrow.
On the first pit stop, Scott Riggs' team took 3 rounds out of the right rear. Second pit stop, they just put on 4 tires, and that just proved everybody that his car was running good. They made no changes whatsoever on that second stop because they felt the car was pretty good.
Well, Scott Riggs has finished 3rd or better the last 3 weeks. Out in front still is Ron Hornaday Jr. in the number 4. They had made the pass. Scott Riggs gets by Ron Hornaday Jr., but with more on Ron Hornaday Jr., Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, I reported that Hornaday came in for gas and go only. The reason for that, they'd only pitted about 18 to 20 laps before that caution came out. Hornaday had told his crew chief, Ricky Byers, that the car was the best it had been. Please do not change tires. I like this set of tires. Leave them on. 20 laps is not going to make any difference. So in about 20 more laps, we'll be able to see if he'll be able to hang with Scott Riggs. Just one more thing, guys. As an addition, I just picked up a radio transmission from Harold Holly, the crew chief for the 25, and he told Bobby Hamilton, he said, man, he said, be smooth, take it easy, just like you're out there fishing with Crankbait Parker.
Well, I'm glad Harold Holly was watching the qualifying show yesterday as you got your new nickname, Crankbait. Now, we joked about that. Your brother is called Catfish.
That's right. He's been on a tear himself. I mean, he's won every race he's been in this year except for 2. So he's been rubbing that in a little bit. So I'm ready to get back out there to win some races.
Scott Riggs, as you see there, the interval still out and in front running the fastest. The second fastest lap was run by Jason Keller.
Teammates. There he
goes again. Bobby Hamilton Jr. getting by Stacy Compton, who was the fastest car to start this race. He was up on the pole, set a track record, and now Bobby Hamilton Jr. says, well, in race setup, you guys ain't got nothing for me.
He's got it going on right now. But you saw there that the 10 car and the 57 car were the 2 fastest race cars on the racetrack. Teammates, I'm sure they share setups and share notes with each other as far as how they're getting around the racetrack.
Well, Bobby Hamilton Jr. seems to be able to just hug that white line.
I've been surprised to see that he's been so fast right on the bottom, and not that many cars have been real fast up high, so he is making the bottom work for him.
Back up front, Scott Riggs has got to be looking in his rearview mirror because Bobby Hamilton Jr. continues to come on hard to the front of this pack. Scott Riggs is out front, and Bobby Hamilton's doing just that as he reeled in the big fish yesterday. He's reeling in the leader right now, Scott Riggs. We've had 4 leaders of this race. Bobby Hamilton Jr. has led 84 laps, but you see the interval between Scott Riggs and there is Bobby Hamilton Jr. Like we said, reeling him in.
About 3.5 second interval. See if he can close in, which I feel like he can. Just visually on the racetrack, you can see he's going through the middle of the corner so fast. Like you said, that car is just pinned down on the apron of the racetrack. His car is just down on the racetrack, and he is really getting through the corners.
Athletes, when they get into that zone, they feel invincible. Is that kind of what Bobby Hamilton Jr. is feeling right now? Does he feel kind of like I can drive anywhere?
I think he felt invincible when I talked to him yesterday. His confidence was way up. He was talking about his guys are very pumped up. And, you know, they've got a big shot in the arm the last couple weeks, and they're just feeling good, and he's getting all he can get right now.
And again, we talked about how it looks like the car's on rails. He's got that thing pinned down to the inside of the track. He's run great lap times, and he just continues to reel in the number 10 of Scott Riggs, who currently is leading this race.
You can see his car coming off of the corner. You just see how low his car is on the racetrack. His car is really down on the racetrack. It's hard to show exactly on the teleshader. He's going so fast. But you can see right here how low the nose is. He has got the package figured out tonight.
Sometimes when you see those cars go through the corner, you see sometimes they'll roll a little bit, but that thing is staying down very level on the track and looks like it's hooked up very well. Scott Riggs right now is hooked up very well as he sits in front of this pack, but we ask ourselves, how long will that be as Bobby Hamilton Jr. has closed in to 2.8 seconds from your leader? We'll find out if Scott Riggs can stay in front. Well, Bobby Hamilton Jr. has dropped to about almost a second. You see that interval there, 0.95 seconds behind the leader. And you see Johnny Sauter here in the payday number 21 coming down pit lane.
He's not going to run out of gas this time.
He's making sure of that. And they are going to make a 4-tire stop, it looks as though. Putting the rights on the outside there, coming around to the side, putting the second can of 76 in this, getting 22 gallons of fuel to get back out on the track. And I guess after running out of gas, do you do something like this to be cautious?
You may want to stop a little bit earlier, take another read on it. So
but
I don't know if his handling wasn't exactly like he wanted it to be, and he just needed to make a change so that he could be more comfortable on the racetrack.
65 laps to go. Can he make it to the end of this race?
Well, he didn't make it before, did he?
He didn't. Let's find out what happened. Glenn.
Well, guys, nothing happened. That was actually a scheduled stop. Remember, he ran out of gas when the other guys came and pitted the last time. Under that caution, Johnny Sauter stayed out on the racetrack, so he would be at the head of the pack, hoping that a quick caution would come out. He'd get his lap back. So actually, just a scheduled pit stop.
And so our first, I guess you would say, scheduled pit stop with Johnny Sauter. Martin Truex Jr. on pit road right now in number 58. And so we might start to see some more green flag stops as we progress through this. But out in front, you see Scott Wimmer in the number 23, currently in 7th position. David Stremme behind him, trying to make the pass on the inside as you look on board with Scott Wimmer. Started in 10th, currently in 7th, and as fast as our lead cars are running, they're in jeopardy of getting caught.
Yes, they are. Dave Stremme's been doing a really good job. We saw the highlights earlier in the race tonight where he had some contact with the 21, but he ended up finishing really well in that race, and he's running good tonight.
And you see the interval getting very, very close there between the number 10 of Scott Riggs and the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. The Marines on board with the 25 and 2 Fords up front.
Looks like Bobby Jr. has moved up the racetrack a little bit. It's been a little bit of the accordion effect. Bobby Jr. catches him, then Scott Riggs pulls back out. I don't know if it's a little bit of air tightness, but Bobby Jr. has moved up the racetrack just a little bit.
The last time we showed the interval, it was almost a second. This time it's dropped down to almost a quarter of a second. And so Bobby Hamilton Jr. seems like there was a point in that little stretch where he decided, well, I'm not going to charge so hard on Riggs.
I don't know. Like I said, he's moved up the racetrack. I don't know if he's a little bit tight. Maybe he is cooling it for just a little bit. He might be playing mind games with him, but I doubt it.
Scott Riggs still out in front of the pack, but the pack has slowed down because of the second caution that has come out. And take a look at this. A very lucky moment for Scott Riggs. He ducks down low. Oh, my goodness.
That was too close for comfort.
Mike Harmon getting pushed up there, and we saw Kerry Earnhardt involved in that. Whoa, Stephanie's going, oh my goodness.
That's some excitement right there. Looked like the 44 car maybe got loose, or I saw a little smoke beforehand. I don't know if maybe he had an engine problem or something, but I think Kerry was just an innocent bystander there. You see these guys that are going to come down pit road. If it goes green from here on out, they can make it.
comes in turn 3 and 4. Scott Riggs gets spun around. And that will bring out the caution, and Scott Riggs staying, almost out of trouble. But there's the 22 coming in, Regan Smith.
But they're still standing here on the front stretch.
Casey Atwood getting spun around. Boyd Gibbs trying to get back out of the grass. Todd Bodine caught up in that in the 92.
Man, problems for the points leader, Todd Bodine, sitting there third in points. Looked like Hornaday had another great restart, and he pulled up on the outside of Scott Riggs, got the air off his spoiler, and looked like he was going to walk away from that with not much damage, but he got hit right at the end.
And the cars come back to the start-finish line. Ron Hornaday Jr., one of the better starters in this series, jumps out as the green flag flies.
He slowed him down to a very slow pace there to get a good start. It worked.
With that incident, this will be the first race Scott Riggs will not finish on the lead lap since Talladega 9 races ago, and that's how he was able to climb up to the points lead. And now with the mishap today, he will lose that top spot. Great race here. David Stremme on the outside of David Green as they make their way into the tri-oval.
You can see when the one went by the 37 right there on the outside, it got the 37 car pretty loose. That outside groove is starting to come in, and when you get on the outside of somebody like that, the inside car, it pulls the air up off of them and loosens them up pretty good.
Oh, and brushing the wall, David Stremme there. As they went down the backstretch, Stremme got it maybe a little loose all the way into the wall. You saw the spark fly.
He's getting all he can get right now. He needed that wall moved out just a little bit more.
Mike Wallace giving us a view there of Scott Wimmer. We take a look at the 17 on the inside of him, Wally Dallenbach Jr. And you'll leave number 17 trying to get by Scott Wimmer.
We haven't talked about Wally much tonight. He's running in 13th. He's caught a lap down. Scott Wimmer there's on the lead lap running in 7th place.
Back out in front, Ron Hornaday Jr. and Jason Keller now trying to make the pass as they come onto the tri-oval. Jason Keller will lead a lap here in Kentucky.
And look who's lurking right behind him. Old Devil Dog Marine car, number 25, Bobby Jr.
Ron Hornaday Jr. hasn't been afraid to run on the high side of this track. He goes back up high, and look who comes on the inside of him. Bobby Hamilton Jr. trying to make the pass and move into second.
Hornaday had to chase his car right up the racetrack there. You saw him down in the middle of 1 and 2. He got a little loose and had to chase his car up the track. He doesn't give much there. You can see he pulled down on the 25, and if you're going to pass him, you're going to work for it. It's not going to be easy.
There's some racing going on behind our leader, Jason Keller, in the 57. That's for second. Ron Hornaday Jr. in the number 2. The 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. on his inside as they battle down the backstretch again.
See that outside groove's better through 3 and 4, but Hornaday hangs up in the outside even through 1 and 2.
And Hornaday, again, he's run very well in that second line.
He sure has. He's making it work, but he'll relinquish that position to the 25 car.
Gets right up behind him as they go down the backstretch. Jason Keller still out in front of the number 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Hamilton Jr. on the high side of the track as they come in the tri-oval. They both go high, trying to get by the lap traffic. Jason Keller, Bobby Hamilton Jr. nose to tail as they go around this 1.5 miles.
Bobby looked like he was trying to set up a pass there.
We had talked about the fastest line around this track is on the bottom. Can Bobby Hamilton Jr. pass him on the outside?
I mean, we've seen the groove get better and better. He's going to make an attempt here. I think it could be done. He's going to pass him anywhere he possibly can. And Jason Keller's going to try to keep him behind him in any way that he can also.
Stephanie's doing a little coaching there. I wonder if that's why she doesn't have a headset on.
She's excited.
She was very excited.
Animated in her gestures. Pulling for Bobby.
Stephanie, the wife of Bobby Hamilton Jr. And he tries again on the outside, sets him up as he goes down again low. As they come through the tri-oval, can he get the nose on the inside? He's not able to. Jason Keller still able to hold him off as they go into turn number 1.
guys are so even right now.
6 laps racing to go. Jason Keller, Bobby Hamilton battling for the #1 spot as Casey Atwood and David Stremme continue to battle back in 8th and 9th position. Ron Hornaday Jr. has dropped back to 3rd. Stacy Compton still in 4th. Scott Wimmer 5th. Brian Vickers has moved up into 6th position in the #5. So some great racing going on here in the top 10.
Ashton Lewis in 7th place. He's had a good night.
Jason Keller still holding off the hard-charging Bobby Hamilton Jr. as we have under 5 laps of racing to go.
Well, Jason can get down in the corner. He can really get down into the corner, and Bobby looks better to be on the exit of the corner.
Bobby again goes wide through turn #4, ducks back down low as he comes through the tri-oval. Now is he setting something up there? Is he trying to make Jason think that he's going to go on the high side and then duck down low?
I think that's a good possibility. I think he's just trying to get grip wherever he can and get a run on him.
He's had a great run coming out of 2, and he closed the gap ever so much. Jason Keller still out in front. Now Bobby Hamilton again going on the high side through 3 and 4. As this time he's going to get the nose just inside as they go past the start-finish line, and he was on the apron as they went by the start-finish line there. Bobby Hamilton makes the pass with 3 laps to go, and Stephanie says, way to go.
Jason Keller took a look back to the inside. He might be able to get on his inside here. I don't know.
Bobby Hamilton looking for just his 2nd career win in the NASCAR Busch Series. His first 2003 as he's out in front now of Jason Keller in the #57. And the crowd loves it as they go by the start-finish line.
I wonder if there's a lot of Marines out watching somewhere, the remote location on satellite dish right now.
You know the guys are cheering for their team, the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. He has put some distance between himself and Jason Keller. This time around, the white flag will be displayed. Kevin Moss shows him the white. 1.5 miles to go for Bobby Hamilton.
Jason Keller was doing a good job. You can see 25 car start to pull away just a little bit. Jason did a great job of keeping behind him as long as he did.
Bobby Hamilton, we talked about it during the race. He was the strongest. He led the first 84 laps of this race. And the most important one is coming up as he comes out of turn #4. The crowd's on their feet. The checkered flag flies. His 2nd career victory here in Kentucky.
That was an exciting finish.
You're so calm, though.
That had me on the edge. I think it got me. I'm rocking back and forth. It had me on the edge. I think he's real happy with Harold.
Harold Holly celebrating. Jason Keller's team coming home in 2nd. Bobby Hamilton with his 3rd consecutive finish of 6th or better this season. And that is, again, our 3rd different winner here at Kentucky. And welcome back to Bobby Hamilton's favorite new state, Kentucky. At Kentucky Speedway, Bobby Hamilton winning his first race of the 2003 season. And Jason Keller coming home in 2nd. We see the unofficial results here. Shane Meal finishing in 19th position.
Coming back from bouncing off the wall there early. Scott Riggs ended up in 3rd there.
Todd Bodine was in a points battle and had problems there towards the end of this one.
Hey, Bobby, you mind if I wedge in the hug fest over here? Congratulations. How does it feel to be back in victory lane?
We had to fight for this one. That's what the Marines do. They don't die.
Bobby's so small, they just pick him up and throw him around like a rag doll.
Man right here.
Bobby, talk about, you had 2 loose lug nuts. You had to come in. You were deep in the field after dominating the show. What were you feeling right then?
As good as the car was, didn't matter. You could, if you listen to my radio chatter, it was like, it don't matter, guys. We'll get them.
Take a look at the point standings. for the NASCAR Busch Series as we've completed 16 races now. David Green back up on top. Scott Riggs moves down to second, and Todd Bodine holds on to third, even though finishing way back in the field.
Scott Wimmer, see, is in 10th place now. Bobby Jr. picked up a position to 7th place.
And Scott Wimmer actually grabbing 2 spots to move into the top 10 with his finish.